Hello, everyone. I hope everyone is doing excellent today. Thank you for joining me. My name is Kafaya. I'm a community learning specialist with DoSpace, and I will be facilitating today's Kid Coders session. I hope everyone is doing wonderful. We're just going to give it a few more minutes for the rest of our friends to join us, and then we're going to dive right in to today's exciting activity. I know I always say our activities are exciting, but today's activity is a little bit more fun than usual. So, yeah, I'm very excited to be the test case as we walk through today's activity, of course. And for anyone that's interested in joining us, I'm going to be sharing the link as I always do. But before we get started, I have a quick survey for you guys that I'm going to put in the chat for everyone that's interested. So while we wait for everyone else to join us, we can just get on with that. With the survey, I just put the link in the Twitch chat for anyone that's interested. And yeah, just a few more seconds, about 30 seconds, and then we would go on to what we have planned for today. Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is DoSpace Digital After School Kid Coders, and my name is Kafaya. As you can see from here, I think, yes, I'm sure my name is right here. Cool. Awesome. Okay. So, what we have planned for today is a lot of fun, as always. And for today, we are going to be exploring. I know we all like to play games, and I think we would have a greater appreciation for games every time if we got a little bit of an insight as to how games are built, or if we attempted to build our own games for ourselves. So, that's the plan for today. We're going to play fun arcade games, design our own sprites if you want to, but if you don't want to, there's also an awesome gallery that you can choose from. And we get to also practice, of course, and learn the basics of coding your own game or just coding in general, right? Because that's what we like to do here. Okay, so of course, I'm going to share the link to today's activity for anyone that's interested in working along with me. But if you just want to watch, that's also absolutely awesome. So that's the link in the chat. And once you click on the link, it would bring you to a page that looks so colorful and looks just like this. And I guess this would give you a hint as to what we're doing today. It's the Microsoft Make Code Arcade. I don't know if any of you guys are familiar with any of these activities, but it's a fun way to actually show you guys or teach you guys something new or show you how things are done. And it also gives us the option to work on the same thing together. So it's not just me doing stuff. You all can also work along with me. Cool. So I hope that everyone that's willing to do this with me is on this link. And yeah. So there's three options, right? You can either code your own game, which is to follow along the step-by-step tutorial for your own Shark Attack game, where you can also share with your friends to play. Let me see if I still have the one that I shared with myself earlier today. Yes, I think so. if my phone would load. Right here it says loading, but yeah, that's what it looks like. Do you guys see? Isn't that cool? Imagine sharing this with just your friends, your cousins, family, everyone. Okay, so I'm talking too much. Let's just go right into doing what we're here for. Cool. So this is what it looks like. You can also get creative and design your own characters using this simple template that they would provide, of course. Or you can just play one of the many games that they have. And another awesome thing for anyone that's curious and might really fall in love with today's activity, there's also a bunch of other games that you can check out at the end. Isn't that awesome? Yeah, oh, there's something with the microbits. Maybe we'll explore that on another day because I like microbits. So, of course, because we like to code here, we're going to go into the coding one. So, for this first step, I believe we get to choose or select or create our own heroes for the game that we want to make today. So let's make a game. First, we'll create a main character that shoots some projectiles, just like we can see this duck do. And maybe that's a duck that shoots bubbles, or a monkey throwing bananas, or a cat that spits hairballs. Okay, that's something cats can do. You get to decide. Okay, cool. So, of course, we have the steps and we follow. From scene, drag the set background color block into the start block from your workspace and select a background color for your game. So right now I'm taking suggestions for anyone that wants to choose what our background colors should be. So we have to go into scene and then choose the block that would help us set the background color for our game. And I'm sure that you guys are very familiar with drag and drop block pro coding, which is what we mostly do here. And it's a lot of fun, and that's why we do it. So now we're able to set our background color to, let's see, we can do blue, just so that everything else that we put on the screen isn't overshadowed. Nice. So this looks like a very cool, nice, good looking background color for us. And now we're going to proceed. So next, I think we're done with that step. Next, it says from sprites, drag the set my sprite to block into the unstart block right here. Click on the gray box in set my sprite to, and then select gallery in the image editor to choose your hero. So here we're going to go into sprites. Of course, if you want me to repeat a step, I'm more than happy to do that. You just have to let me know in the chat. Okay, so now we're going to go into sprite and then choose the block that helps us set our sprite, and that goes into the block for unstart. Awesome. So we get to click into the gray box right here, then select gallery to choose our hero. I'm also taking suggestions on what we want the heroes to be. I will try to slide down to the bottom so you guys can get an overview of all of our heroes, and then we can choose. So I'm taking suggestions. Let me know. What do you want? Who should be our hero today, or what? It could be an animal. It could be anything we want to be. We want it to be. We get to exercise our creative freedom for this part. Should we do a fish? Yeah? Yeah, let's choose a fish. And there isn't too much that we need to do to change for the fish, right? Or we could give it blue eyes. Let me see. We can just change the eyes to blue. And that works. And once you're done, at the bottom right here, oops, at the bottom right here, you can click done. And we have set our sprite to fish. And now you can see the fish in here. So technically in the ocean, since our background is blue, so it gives the illusion of water also. Moving on. So now that we have all of that set, a good way to compare your answer would be to click on any of these like blocks right here in the instructions, and it should show you what you have, and you can just compare and contrast with what you have for yourself. And that looks about right, except we have a fish here instead of a duck, and that is fine. Now we're going to move on to our next step. So now the instruction says from controller, drag the move my sprite with buttons block after set my sprite to. This will allow you to move your sprite around the screen. Try out in the stimulator, this right here, using the arrow key on your keyboard by clicking the joystick right here. So I'm clicking my joystick, but nothing's happening right now because we haven't given any instructions, nor have we written any code to make this happen. So let's do that. So I'm going to go into my controller tray and then drag the move my sprite with buttons. And now it is time to test what we have. So I am trying to move my fish. Yay! And it's working. Oh, I think I'm moving too fast. You could also use the arrows to have a more controlled movement. But here we have it. You can roll your joystick all around, or just try to point it in the direction that you want your sprite, or in this case our fish, to go. Awesome. So now we're good to move to the next step. Now that we have our hero, let's have our hero shoot some projectiles. So find the on a button pressed block in the controller and drag it to the workspace. So here we have it. And this goes right. Should we do it below, or I think on the side is good? Cool. So now that we have that, we can check our work to be sure. Yes, we do have the right thing. And we're going to go on to the next step. From sprites, add the projectile from my sprite block into the a button pressed block right here, and then we have to set the VY value to 0. Let's do one thing at a time first so we don't get too ahead of ourselves. So first I'm going to go into sprites and then select set projectile to, did I get the right block? In sprite, set projectile. Yes, I did. Awesome. Set projectile for my sprite. Okay, we have that block. The next thing to do is to set the VY value to 0. So this, we can either type in our 0 or also use this bar to decide what we want. Okay, I'm just going to type 0. Awesome. Then click on the gray square to open the image editor and draw your projectile. Try shooting the projectile in the stimulator using your keyboard, or click the A button. Here we go, projectile. This is the gray box, and now we get to choose what we want for our projectile. I like these right here. They look like orange balls. And I'm just going to do a little bit to the color just so it's a bit more coherent. Of course, I'm happy to take suggestions. Let me know in the chat if there's anything you want me to play with. That's why I'm here. Okay, so I think yeah, that should be fine. I just want a little bit more orange everywhere. Everywhere, everywhere, everywhere. Awesome. And then we are good to go. Just click on done at the bottom of the screen and we should be good. And now we get to test it out. So if I click on A, oops, why is A moving my fish? Meanwhile, if I click on A, I see what the problem is. Let's see if I can flip the fish. Nope, I did not mean to do that. Okay. Well, there's no way to flip our fish. Yes, there is, I think. Awesome, that looks good. Come on, awesome. So now in our fish, when we shoot, yeah, makes a lot of, that looks a lot better. And we are good to go. At least now we know that it works. And A doesn't do what we want it to do. So you could also use your arrows on your keyboard to control the movement. But yeah, there we have it. So we can shoot using our A button right here, and that's that for that step. The next thing to do now is to create enemies. Like, it's not a fun game if you're just fighting against yourself, right? So let's try to go find ourselves a few enemies. Okay. So for this step, we get to add an on-game update every block to the workspace. So here in the game tray, on game, I'm just going to put it right here so we know what we did for every step. Cool. So on game, update every, this looks like 500 seconds, milliseconds. So inside the on game update every block or event, place set my sprite to, let's go find the block that sets our sprite. Okay, rename the variable to enemy sprite. So I'm going to go ahead and make a new variable and call it enemy. Oops. Okay, so now that we have that set, and then what happened? Give me a second. Oh, okay, I think I got the wrong block. So I'm going to go back here, set my sprite to sprite. I can just click to see the exact block that I want. So it's this one. So here we have, awesome. And now I get to rename this variable to enemy sprite, which might not work because I already have that. I already have something else with that name. So I'm guessing. Okay, looks like we're good. Enemy sprite. Okay. And now we get to change the player to the kind of enemy that we want, and we're going to select an enemy from the gallery. So let's see. Should we choose the shark? Well, we have a variety. Let me see if we can filter it down to aquatic animals. Awesome. It's hard to tell what they all are. Does anyone have a suggestion on what our enemy should be? I guess we can use the shark. Okay. And we are done. To enemy. That looks good. What? Oh, yeah, that makes sense because our enemy sprite is on top of. Awesome, awesome, awesome. So that's good. We can move on to the next step. The next thing to do is to place a set position 2 block right below the set enemy sprite block and change the variable to enemy sprites in the drop down list. And just for reference, this is what that would look like. So I'm going to go into my sprites and then set enemy sprite to 0 and 0. Awesome. We are good with that step, and we're going to go on to the next. For X value in the set position 2 block, place a pick a random. So right here in the math tray, I'm going to drag this and put it in my X position, and I get to change my Y. I get to change 10 to 160. Awesome. Wow. And now the next thing to do is to do the same thing for our Y position, and we get to change this from 10 to 120. Awesome. So now that we have both of those selected, wow, the sharks are kind of scary and overwhelming. I'll just stop that for now. And stop. Cool. Next, we get to drag a overlaps block into the workspace and change the second sprite kind to enemy. Okay, so right here, just to give us some space to work, and this is going to be enemy, just for reference. Awesome. Next, inside the overlaps block, place a destroy sprite block, and okay, let me do that first. Destroy. Drag the other sprite variable from the on overlap block and paste it into okay, other sprite. I'm a bit confused, but we gonna try it out. I can't seem to find the other sprite, so I will just create okay. Awesome. So we did that right. Cool. Moving on to the next step. Now that you have enemies, let's add code to destroy the enemies with your projectiles. Or if you want, you can continue with making them move I think we should work on destroying them first before they start to move. Okay, now that you have enemies and projectiles, let's give your projectiles some power. Yes, let's do that. From sprites, drag the on right here. Drag the on sprite overlaps other sprite block to your workspace. Then click the first drop down and select projectile. Then click the second drop down and change that to enemy. Awesome. Just for yeah, we have that right. Moving on. Then right here it says from sprites, drag the destroy block into your on sprite overlap blocks and drag the other sprite variable into the destroy sprite. Okay, so sprites, destroy in here, and then we want the other sprite. Is that correct or is that correct? That is correct. And then from info, drag the change score block into on sprite overlaps to give yourself a point each time you hit an enemy. So I'm going into info and I'm going to change my score by 1. 1 second. My light just went off. Awesome. So now we get to, I think, test it out. Let's see. Let me try to make this full screen so that we can test it out. I would move my fish to the top corner. Oops. What happened? Where'd you go? Oh no. Okay, cool. Just come down a little bit and then we shoot. Okay, and I get some points, as you can see right here. So every time that I shoot and he hits any of the sharks, I get a point. Cool. I just need more of them in my view, and that looks good. Look at us killing the evil sharks. And we get to shoot. And shoot. And shoot. And shoot. And shoot. That's fun. And shoot. Oops, wrong thing. Okay. Awesome. That's enough playing. Let's continue. And the next thing to do here is from sprites, drag the my sprite. I should stop that. From sprite, drag the my sprite effect block into. I thought I did that. Okay. From sprites, my sprite effect block into. Okay, I see what to do. Right here. Then drag the sprite variable into the start effect block. Okay, and sprite. Oh. Yeah, I think that should be fine. And then give it the bubbles effect. Where are we? Where's bubbles? Let's try. So every time that we shoot, we get the bubbles. I wasn't clicking on. Okay. Awesome. And then the next thing to do is to get our enemies moving. Use the uncreated event to make the enemies in your game move. Okay, so now it's time for the sharks to start moving. And to do that, we're going to start with an uncreated sprite block event. And then we change this to enemy. Next. Inside the uncreated block, place a set velocity block. Set velocity, where are you? Okay, is that the right thing? Yes, it is. Okay, so set velocity block, drag the sprite variable here, and we can say goodbye to you from the uncreated block and use it as the sprite inside of set velocity. Okay, we have that correct. And I think we are good to go to the next step. Change the values in the set velocity block to set the speed and direction of your enemy sprite. In this example, we will set Vx to -50. Can do this. And Vy is going to be 0. Awesome. Next. Place a set auto destroy block below the set velocity block. This is called a sprite flag. Just like before, drag the sprite variable from the uncreated block and use it as the sprite for set auto destroy. Okay, so inside of here, I'm going to get my set sprite auto destroy just to check that I'm doing that right. And I'm going to drag from here and here and say bye-bye to this. Awesome. That looks correct. And next, in the set auto destroy block, switch the settings from off to on. This setting would cause the enemies to get automatically destroyed when they travel outside of the screen. So right here, I'm going to set auto destroy to on, and we say bye-bye to all the sharks as they go by. So if we don't get them, somebody else would, or at least the screen would destroy them. Next, now let's add code to destroy the enemies with your projectiles, or if you're feeling creative, add a background. I think we already did that. So let's see. Because as you can see right here, every time that we hit any, every time that we hit any of them, we get a point. So we already did that. Cool. So this brings us to the point where we get to name our game. What should we call it? Who has a suggestion on what name to call our game? I can just go very generic and name it My First Game. And you need to publish your project to share it in other web pages. You acknowledge, blah, blah, blah. So let's publish. And now, if we want to share our game, all we have to do is, I can show you how, is we can start by scanning with our phone's camera, which I just did right here. oops, it's taking a while to load, as you guys can see. Let's wait for it. Come on. Yay! And it's here now. So if I wanted to play the game on my phone, or if I wanted to share it with my friends or my family, I can do that since it's already here on my phone. And it also gives you the option to show the code for the game, which is so awesome. I love this so much. See? So everything that we just worked on right now is right here on my phone. And I like to have everything on my phone. As you can see, all I did was to scan the barcode using the camera of my phone, and it brought me here to our awesome game that we just created together. Thanks to Microsoft, of course. And yeah, or you could also just copy this link and share it with anyone that's interested or anyone that you want to share your game with. And yeah, that's everything that we can do. So now we can go back home, make sure our game is saved, and then we can go back home. And when we go home, I think if we come back here, you can also try to just explore the design parts. Let's see what this is going to entail. Okay, so this lets you design your own version of the Collect the Clovers game. And then you're also able to, let me see, you're also able to draw your own background scene, design your own hero character, and change the enemy, and many things. Okay, let's see if we can do any of these. First, set the background image, which is already done right here. As you can see, let me close out of that. Or we can just attempt to play the game. And let me see, I don't even know how this game is played. Okay. Just looking through, I'm trying to see. I wasn't even playing the game, so how did I lose? Okay. Let me make this full screen. Let's see. Am I moving? Oh, I see. Oh, so I think I'm supposed to avoid the bees. Oh yeah, so we avoid the bees, but we got we go after the leaves, so I just collided. This is fun. But we are avoiding bees because we only have one life. Oops. Well, that was fun. Let's go back so we can explore playing the game. Since we already looked at coding, we looked at the design part. We mainly was just playing. And okay. And this is a game that's already created. Just if you're looking for any like insight or any game ideas, it helps to see what other people have built, right? But it's taking a while to load. Okay. 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 I'm not sure I understand the game. Why do we keep getting stuck? Okay, well, that's that about that. And I hope everyone had a great time today. Let me know what you think and if you enjoy the game. And if you maybe build your own and want to share with me, you can send me an email at hello@dospace.org. My name is Kafaya and would probably always be Kafaya. So feel free to send me an email and I'll be more than happy to hear from you guys. And just going to share my the link to my survey that I shared in the beginning for anyone that's for anyone that's interested. It's right there in the chat, but I'm going to find it so I can share it again. Where is it? Where are you? Okay, it's right here. Awesome. And that's that in the chat for anyone that's interested. Awesome. So thank you guys for being here with me today. And I hope to see you guys next week for more exciting activities. Okay? You guys, you all have a wonderful day, a wonderful week, and I'll see you later. Bye.